Okay, here we're going to look at binomial nomenclature. And if you break these two words down, by meaning two, nomial referring to name, and nomenclature is this system of naming, you can begin to make sense of this and what this is going to be all about and how important this is for biology. So starting with in general, names were based on Latin or ancient Greek words, and scientists everywhere understood these languages. We want to use terms that are interchangeable, and that's across regions, languages, for naming our organisms, so that no matter where you are located in the world, where you may be doing research, scientists all over can know exactly what you're referring to. So the first word of the scientific name is the species name. It's the name of the genus to which the organism belongs to. The genus name refers to the relatively small group of organisms to which a particular type of organism belongs. Remember that from our classifications in our kingdoms, phylums, and families, how this relates. We're looking specifically here at the naming of the first word, referring to the genus. The second word is the name of the species, and this is a specific identifier. Species names are usually a Latin description of some important characteristics of that particular organism. Humans here, you can see Homo sapiens. Homo is being the genus, and sapiens is referring to the species. Applying this to another example and allowing you to understand some more of the rules associated with this, when we use the Latin name for an organism, we always capitalize the genus, which is the first part, but not the species identifier, which is the second part. We also print the name in italics or underline them. You use italics if you're using a computer, or if you're writing them on a test quiz or any handwritten, you would underline them. For example, Acer rubrum, which is the scientific name for a red maple tree, which is again the common name, would look like this if you were writing it out. If you were typing it, you would use the italics. Acer is the Latin name for maple, that's again the genus, and rubrum is the Latin word for red, and that's referring to the species. Certain ones can also be abbreviated, as we can see here. A period and rubrum, referring to our beautiful, in the fall at least, red maple trees. Humans are named Homo sapiens. So Homo because of our large brain and upright posture, that's where that's derived from, and sapiens because our intelligence and ability to speak. If you're a Star Wars fan, Qui-Gon Jinn quote right here, the ability to speak does not make you necessarily intelligent, but we also said our large brain, and this gives you an example of our cerebral cortex amount of neurons that we have in billions compared to a couple other species here. So you can see the elephant, the monkey, and the chimpanzee. We have 16.3 billion, which is much larger than any of these other different species. How this might look, myself up here, how this might look is there's a lot of information that can be conveyed in a very short space. So this is just one example of the Colorado potato beetle, which is actually a major pest insect. And you can see our kingdom, our phylum, our class, and our order, our family, our genus, and our species, and all the numbers correspond here. So as you can see, we're able to determine what kingdom it's in. It's an animal, and then get very specific. Here's the binomial name, and that's referring to, again, you'll notice it's in italics because it is typed. The first word is capitalized, there's a space, and then we have our second word. So our naming authority, when it was potentially named, who named it, all of this information can be kept very quick and easy, and it's kind of like card-like format with the addition of a picture. This can be very helpful for looking at doing research or trying to identify and talk about this specific insect so that people all over the world know exactly what we're talking about. So getting in how to properly write binomial nomenclature. So here's an example of, again, humans. This one is incorrect because it's all written as one solid word. The second example here is wrong because even though it's two separate words, we notice the first word here is not capitalized. The third version is capitalized and does have a space, but because it's handwritten, it is not underlined. This last one here indicates the correct and proper way to write binomial nomenclature. First word capitalized, space to the second word is lowercase, and both words are underlined. If we were typing this on a computer, we could italicize them. So looking at our taxonomy and nomenclature, they're closely aligned but separate in complementary endeavors in developing the language of biodiversity. Nomenclature is a system for giving names to organisms. Taxonomy is the branch of biology that identifies and names organisms. So coming together, we get able to develop the type of specimen so that we're able to understand exactly what it is. And we get away from the use of common names. Even though it might be easier to understand, certain species and different species may have overlapping common names. So this nomenclature and taxonomy come together, so we're able to, as scientists, talk about the same thing regardless of our geographic location.